I think I'm an artist because it's probably the most natural thing to me. Like one of my earliest memories is just drawing in kindergarten and I don't know, just having a lot of fun doing it.
Not being an artist was never a question. I think it's one of the few things in life, if not the only thing in life, that I was sure.
Well, I've always been drawn to art because I think at the end of the day, I love to create and I love to make things with my own hand.
It started off as something my mom encouraged me to do, like as an extracurricular activity, just so like I have something else to do outside of school. And then gradually it developed into this really profound passion.
It started when I was younger. I would sew and I would needle felt, and a lot of it also came in baking. And I just love the physical process of having something that was like raw material that wasn't usable and then finding something beautiful and useful in it. And so it's very important in me, in my art, to make things that are both practical and beautiful.
I make work sometimes to understand things. So to understand not only my past, but also my future. Like where am I headed with my thoughts and where am I coming from with my thoughts? So it's a work of placing myself within something. For the time being, though, I'm just interested in seeing how photographs erode over time, how they kind of are corrupted in the process of being created. And to me, that kind of reflects on the process of having memory. I think our memory is so mobile and fluid, and it's difficult to capture. I think sometimes we feel like we have such a clear idea about the memories that we have. And the more I think about, reflect on my past and on my memories, the more I realize that my memories change a lot, and they change all the time. And I want my photos to kind of reflect on that and also change.
Bates has taught me a lot of how to think about art and how to make art more meaningful to myself, and using the process of creating art to think about myself and my experiences and what's important to me as well. So they're gouache paintings of my body and my face on cardboard, and there's a lot of layering and fragmentation and like lines that kind of sever the body and the face. And I was also thinking a lot about negative space. It was also really important for me to portray myself and brown skin, because brown skin, darker people are not in the artistic canon a lot. And so that was very important to me going into the thesis. My work investigates the idea that there are multiple, even infinite versions of self that are all equally authentic. I paint nude self-portraits on cardboard as an exploration of the multiplicity of my being, as well as an experimentation of how surface can transform object and the other way around.
Through my work, I've been able to explore ideas that I would have a hard time expressing in words. I've always been really fascinated and drawn to the human form. So the process of sewing, I was trying to translate those gestural blind contour drawings into these more purposeful sewn pieces. So I was using various kinds of India ink and watered down acrylic paint to highlight certain areas of the pieces that I had already sewn over or drawn over, thinking about reclaiming those ideas, and also thinking about fabric and how it's a much more time-consuming art than drawing or marking a page more gesturally. So I was interested in capturing these fleeting emotions in the more time-consuming art of sewing.
I've always been drawn to architecture, and I've grown up actually live on a farm here in Ohio. So I've been exposed to barns my whole life, I guess you could say. They're a recognizable structure that everyone knows. And I think they have very satisfying architectural elements in them, between like the roof lines and the angles. And it's all very attractive to me as an artist and looking for something to paint. And then obviously Woodstock is a place that I hold very dear to my heart. I have a lot of family history around that area. And so I thought, what better way to kind of represent and honor this place than by studying these barns in this way, but also making them more abstract, but still recognizable as structures and as barns, I guess.
I'm trying to create a different narrative in my work of showing the care that I and my fellow anglers have for these fish and for their environment, and making sure that we keep them healthy and keep their environments healthy. So it goes really beyond just fishing. It goes into the whole conservation side of things as well, and creates a more holistic view. So that's why another reason I like tying my own flies. It's just like you really come around full circle there, from sitting at your desk all the way until you watch that fish swim away.
Yeah, I collect a lot of what people would call trash. If you walked into my studio, it would seem extremely organized, like 4 weeks of trash just like in piles everywhere, but it's unorganized in the way that I know where everything is, but it doesn't look that way. I feel like we throw away a lot of the things that could have more value. And a lot of my work is just taking the things that have been rejected and creating it into a story in itself.
Because I've always had this really profound interest in architecture and design. So like I really enjoy marveling at like cool interior design, like installation stuff, decoration and space. And so I thought about that, and I thought about how the environment is so like indicative of our actions, and how it shows the consequences of what human actions can occur on the environment and the earth in general. And so I decided to portray like these like almost dystopian looking cityscapes that are like intersecting between something fictional and also like reflecting bits of reality. So like a lot of the structures, the buildings I chose to draw are like referencing pictures of like cities or towns or villages that I've seen in my life. But at the same time, I'm portraying them in like this more fictional manner.
Throughout the year, I've been making images of landscapes from my hometown. And growing up here, I spent many summers and all year round, I was outside running around on trails and on mountains. And I really wanted to explore why I feel at home in the landscapes that I do feel comfortable in. And so making this work has been a process of understanding those places as my home and why they are so important to me.